Welcome back. You're watching News Centre. Our focus now on the government's internship scheme that was announced by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the July budget. The scheme goes live this week. Who is it applicable for? Well, for youngsters in the age group of 21 to 24, the cap would be in terms of a family income of 8 lakh rupees annually per year. No one above that would be eligible for this scheme. Also, the students or the youngsters enrolling in this portal, in this government portal which goes live, should not be doing any other job or should not be pursuing a formal degree. But those involved in vocational courses can apply for the scheme, and it has received good response from the likes of the Reliance Group, the Adani Group and Mahindra as well. Joining us right now is someone who's been working very closely with the government on making the scheme a reality and making the portal active. Aditya Ghosh, the founder of Akasa Air, also the chairman of the Skill Development Committee at CII. Aditya, thank you very much for joining us on the program. So we hear that the scheme is being launched on the 3rd of October, and by 13th of October, the government starts receiving applications. Are we to believe that this is going to be a pilot initially, and what will be the scale of the program initially in phase 1?
Thank you, Parikshit. Thank you for having us here. I mean, it's, I think, very exciting. You know, this has been in the making and for a long period of time. It was announced in the budget. So it's only apt that, just the day after Gandhi Jayanti, we are going to see this go live. Initially in phase 1, which is for the first 2 years, the idea is to have about 30 lakh youngsters go through the internship. And in the balance 3 years, another 70 lakh youngsters, making it to a total of 1 crore young Indians who will go through this internship. So that's how, I mean, these two will be phased. But I think what's important is just the way, it's been structured, where 50% of it can be classroom, 50% has to be hands-on training, so that our young Indian youth can get really, skills that will help them in their jobs on their very kind of first day.
Right. Could you also give us a sense, as you explained us, 50% classroom, 50% on-job training. So how will these internship programs being structured? Is there a guideline on that front that will apply to all the companies who are picking up youngsters through this internship program?
That's correct, Parikshit. Actually, there are some guidelines, but at the same time, there have also been some flexibility given. For instance, there could be companies who are already running certain internship programs of their own, and they have the ability to adapt and tweak those internship programs to make sure that those programs are now aligned to this Prime Minister's internship scheme. Secondly, there is, you can, as a company, you can not only take internships or interns into your own mainstream company, but also reach out to those who are part of your kind of value chain, supply chain, and so on and so forth. So those guidelines are basically, like you mentioned, it can't be someone who's already come from a reasonably privileged background. So it's going to kind of really help us target those who come from marginalized socioeconomic backgrounds, and that gives them a unique opportunity to gain practical experience, improve employability, and most importantly, align their learning with those of the industry. The CII, we've been advocating for a long period of time for more active involvement of the industry in improving the employability of young youth in India.
Right. Aditya, if I were to also ask you, will there be certain towns and cities where this pilot project will function first, or will students all across the country be able to apply?
No, they'll be able to apply all across the country. So it kind of reaches out to all corners of the country. It's of course targeted at the top 500 companies who can afford to bring in that many interns. There's a huge amount of support from the government, and then the balance little stub is expected to be contributed by the companies from their CSR funds. So there are kind of guidelines around that. The interns get stipends. They get a stipend of 5,000 rupees. So it's not like, you're going to work for free. So I think all in all, it's a very, very exciting program.
Right. If we were to ask you, these youngsters in the age group of 21 to 24 who are going to be working as interns in different organizations, what is the possibility of them being retained as full-time employees by the companies later? Could you give us a sense as to what is the industry average in terms of hiring the interns immediately after their internship period gets over?
I think it's a very good question, and I don't have a particular data point in mind, but just from my experience, and if you take that, a large bulk of candidates who go through a graduate management training program or an internship program absolutely find place and a placement in these companies. Whether it is young candidates becoming pilots or flight attendants or aircraft maintenance engineers in the airline business, or front office and back office folks in the hospitality business, or of course in manufacturing, where graduate management training programs have been around for I'd say almost 100 years. So the very, very high chance of you're getting absorbed. And not just from that, but if you kind of step back and think about it, Parikshit, talent shortage is something that most business leaders will talk about, So by offering on-the-job training to the youth, it will prepare them to get involved in jobs which the industry is looking for talent in, while ensuring that the business get access to skilled and agile future workforce. And therefore, like I said, it kind of works for both the employers and the prospective employees.
Right. What we would also like to ask you, in terms of the take-home salary, the minimum, I believe, is around 5,000 rupees. Do you expect some of the industry players to pay even higher?
Absolutely. And there is flexibility for companies to pay a higher stipend. The only thing that the scheme says is that higher stipend will not be met by the government, which is perfectly okay, and will not be considered as part of your CSR funding. So you will kind of have to fund it from your own non-CSR resources, but it is completely left. Like I was saying, there's a lot of flexibility for companies to adapt these internship programs in the way that works for the rest of their employee base.
Right. My final question would be, any advice to youngsters who are applying? I'm sure there is a standard format for a CV to be uploaded or questions to be answered on the portal. But having said that, across companies, do you think there are certain common skill sets that would be looked out for, certain educational qualification or percentage in exams that companies would be looking out for?
Parikshit, I'll give you a more philosophical answer to that, if you don't mind. Yes, these days, an AI tool can create your resume. And I think most youngsters will come in with the right academic qualifications. But if there was one piece of advice that I had to give, would be that to approach every one of these opportunities with a lot of honesty of purpose, to be young and enthusiastic, don't be young and impatient. Because I believe that, opportunity comes to all of us. It is only a few who grab that opportunity and make a most of themselves. So to really go and chase your dreams, and this is a phenomenal opportunity. Can you imagine if 60 months from now, we as Indians can look back with satisfaction and say, here are 10 million Indians, 1 crore young Indians who went through this kind of an internship program and became employable, and they were able to chase their dreams. And, we give them the power to make a change in not only in their own lives, but the power to make a change in the life of their loved ones and the communities that they serve.
All right, Aditya, that's a great note to end on. Thank you very much for joining us here on News Center, telling us everything about the new internship scheme and what youngsters should really be doing who are looking out for opportunities in the private sector. That's all we have time for. Thank you for watching News Center. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.